tei tei yum tatam takita takata dhalang tak dhalang tom tadikita tom tam de tam tei.
Hi everyone. It is an honor and a privilege to introduce Dr. Sonal Mansingh on behalf of Arts from India. Dr. Sonal Mansingh was nominated by the President of India to Rajya Sabha, the upper house of Indian Parliament, in July 2018 in recognition of her lifelong dedication and service to India's arts. She is a recipient of Padma Vibhushan in 2003 from Shri APJ Abdul Kalam and Padma Vibhushan from Shri Venkataraman in 1992. Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi, nominated her as a NAVRATNA for Swachh Bharat Mission, Clean India Mission. Her unique contribution has been her lifelong work, using her knowledge to address socio-cultural issues through the chosen medium of dance as an art educator, cultural activist, and a social motivator. As the founder president of Shri Kamakhya Kalapeeth, Center for Indian Classical Dances, established in 1977 at Delhi, she has trained several thousand talented students who are carrying the message of Indian culture globally. She teaches the art as a holistic concept, combining music, yoga, Sanskrit, and cultural traditions of India. A hearty welcome to Dr. Sonal Mansingh. Today, she will be talking to us about the Bharatnatyam and Odissi dance styles in detail, as well as have an interactive session with two promising young male dancers who are proponents of Bharatnatyam and Odissi. Supratim Talukdar is a young, promising Bharatnatyam dancer from Kolkata, also a postgraduate in the discipline. He has been a disciple of Guru Shri Avoy Paul and Srimati Sujata Ramalingam and is presently under the tutelage of Guru Shri Vaibhav Arekar. In the recent years, he has performed in Shivargya, a convention of male dancers organized by Srimati Saroja Vaidyanathan at the Uday Shankar Dance Festival, Ramakrishna Mission Institute of Culture, Kolkata, as well as for Arts from India programs. He has won several awards in Bharatnatyam, including the Best Dancer among all categories in the 79th All India Music Competition organized by Chetla Murari Smriti Sangeet Sammilani, first position in Bharatnatyam in All India Dance Competition organized by Pratibha Utkarsh Samaro National Level Dance Competition, and several others. He is also proficient in other dance forms like creative dance, Rabindra Nitya, folk dance, and Kalari Payattu, the first martial dance. Saurav Mohanty is a professional Odissi dancer who has been dancing for over 9 years. He has trained with Guru Shri Devashish Patnaik and Shri Manoj Prada and is currently training under the prominent Nrityacharya Guru Shri Durga Charan Ranbir at Nrityayana, Bhubaneswar. In the recent years, he has performed in Guru Kelucharan Mohapatra Award Festival in Bhubaneswar, at the Konarak Dance Festival at Konarak, and at Parichaya International Dance Festival held in Rourkela. He has won several awards, including Guru Niranjan Rao Pratibha Samman, given by Nupur Academy, Bhuvaneshwar. Pragyan Pratibha Samman given by Pragyan Nrityayan Bhuvaneshwar. The Nritya Kala Award at the Nepal International Dance Festival held in Kathmandu. He also placed second in the Odia TV channel Prarthana for the Nupur duet. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Sonal Mansingh with Supratim Talukdar and Saurabh Mohanty. Thank you.
Namaskar, ma'am.
હું ગોટે
I
હાથે
just
હું
can't
મોબાઈલ
believe
ધરી
it.
છે હું મોબાઈલ ધરી છે ગોટે
Sorry?
હાથનું તો ગોટે હાથનું નમસ્કાર કરું છું ગોટે હાથરે હું મોબાઈલ ધરી छी एक हाथ
Okay.
में मोबाइल पकड़ा है तो नमस्कार में एक हाथ से कर रही हूँ
Right,
Can't
ma'am.
hear?
Yes, I
Can
can
you hear
hear.
me?
Yes, I can hear.
Okay.
So I am in awe, actually. I can't believe that I am being able to talk to Dr. Sonal Mansingh ji. I just can't believe it. Thank you, Art from India, this lovely initiative. Ma'am.
Blessings. I just give in very few words the information about Bharatanatyam, something that is, as I always say, how many millennia old tradition, ancient tradition, and to wrap it up in maybe a few minutes. But that is the task that we all have today, as in the times of social media. Time is running fast, and we don't really have. Anyway, dance is very, very natural to human beings, as it is to birds and animals, even nature dances. A little bit of encouragement from the blowing breeze, the wind, or the flames of fire, and everything begins to dance. Bharatanatyam Shastra, we usually believe, is the compendium that made it concised rules and regulations for dance, for music, for instrument making, the tala system, and about the different kinds of proscenium or the different kinds of stages, performing areas. It's just a huge work. But let us not forget that what Bharata Muni did was only to cull, garner from his ancestors, and he has named at least 24 of them who were the Nrityacharyas before him. So it's a very ancient tradition, and usually Nataraja, the king of dancers, Shiva, and Nateshwari, Mahadevi, Mahamaya, Bhagwati, these are the presiding deities of dance. And dance as Nritya Yoga is one of the greatest dynamic yogas, the only dynamic yoga, as I would say, among all the paddhatis, all the systems of yoga. And that is what I was discussing a lot in the on 21st June, the International Day of Yoga. So what I mean by that is that Bharatanatyam, the name is pretty new. It came about in the mid-19th, 20th century, that's last century. Before that, it had many names when it was performed in the courts of the zamindars, the nawabs, or the kings in South India, in Tamil Nadu, Andhra, Karnataka. These are all the modern states. Otherwise, it was all one contiguous region. It was called Sadir, the presentation in the courts or for private festivals and functions. The Bhagavata Mela Natakam, which was performed in 5 different villages of Andhra Pradesh. And these were the Bhagavatulus who came from Maharashtra, wandered around in Karnataka, came to Andhra, today's Andhra. As I again say, Tamil Nadu and Andhra were not very, very separate. They had, of course, different languages. Tamil Nadu has Tamil, and Andhra people spoke Telugu. And a lot of our old compositions are in both Tamil, Telugu, Kannada from Karnataka, and some are in Malayalam, that is from Kerala, and of course in Sanskrit. So an accomplished Bharatanatyam dancer, I would say, has to know or read portions of Bharatanatyam Shastra, know a little bit about the tradition, when it came to be known as Bharatanatyam, how many streams of dance systems came together to form what you call today Bharatanatyam, and how is it different from the other Shastriya styles of dance. I don't like to call it classical. It's a Greek word. There was a classic period in Greek history, art history. We have Shastra, Bharatanatyam Shastra. And all the dance styles that follow more or less the rules laid down, the grammar, the technique, are called Shastriya Nritya. So, Bharatanatyam, as it is called today, became more and more codified in our times in the 20th century. Rukmini Devi is credited with a lot, but I would say that before her it was Bala Saraswati, contemporary, but from the Devadasi tradition. And here I mentioned the Devadasi tradition, which is very important to understand our Shastra and Nritya Paramparas, because they were performed for the gods, the kings. In fact, the kings offered dancers and musicians to the temple. And all the 16 upacharas, rituals, which are a must in any traditional temple, had to include music and dance. Other 14 were, of course, the puja archana with all the sugandhi, deepa, gandha, and all that. So the importance of these ladies, young ladies, the Devadasis, the Dasi is not actually slave. Dasi is one who serves. And these are the serviettes of God. Through dance, they please the God. The great German philosopher of 20th century, Nietzsche, he says, I would not believe in a God who does not dance. And surprisingly, in none of the Abrahamic religions of the West, whether Islam, Judaism, or Christianity, there is no dance and music. It's only in the Sanatana Dharma, what we call today Hinduism. It's a misnomer anyway, that dance and music are very much a part of the temple traditions as well as socio-cultural traditions. Let us not forget that. They exist parallelly. It is not one after another. So for all important functions, marriages, Upanayana Samskaram, the agricultural cycles celebrating harvesting or sowing, and all the other festivals of the Purnima, the full moon nights, and so many, India's full of festivals, dance and music were integral part. Whether it was folk dance, whether it was classical Shastriya dance and Shastriya music. Bharatanatyam, of course, today has come a little bit away from the what we call tradition that I have seen and I've learnt in. But then it is an evolution according to the time. And our ancestors always believed that it is not patthar pe lakir, it's not a line drawn on stone. It's an ongoing tradition, ongoing process, according to place and time. And that is why I think we have existed, our traditions have existed, our dance has existed for centuries. We have learned to accommodate so many socio-cultural themes in our dance today. It is not only about gods, and even if it is about gods, like I will give you my little example, that we talk about the river pollution all over the world. The river pollution in India, because of the density of population, is tremendous. So while we talked about the clean Ganga river, the clean Yamuna, I said Srimad Bhagavad mentions the famous episode of Krishna subjugating the cobra king Kaliya, whose poison had polluted the river Yamuna. Krishna subjugates the cobra king and orders king and the entire clan of cobras to go far away in the ocean where they would not harm, their poison would not harm people habitations. Now I said, this is exactly the Yamuna that we see today in Delhi, especially where I live. It's stinking, yellow, green, a frothy, smelly river. And then my question through my dance has been, after one dances this episode, it's a very famous episode, it's danced in all our classical styles, Shastriya styles, even in the folk, so-called folk dance styles also. I always ask the audience, so who is Krishna today? Are you all Krishna? Are we all Krishna? Or is only the government supposed to be Krishna, or the Supreme Court? Krishna didn't depend on Supreme Court or the government. Krishna was Krishna, and we all have to become Krishna. So like that, the hidden messages can be so beautifully brought out through dance. And I hope that the technique of Bharatanatyam that we use through mudras and through Anga Bhava, the Mukhaja Bhava, and the rhythmic cycles make it attractive. But there has to be a message, of course, of beauty, but beauty that also tells you something, makes you aware, gives you a certain kind of consciousness about your environment, about yourself, and why you are here, why you are dancing, not only to win awards, but also to serve, to share, to give. So that's all I can say about Bharatanatyam. There's no big deal going into the technique. That I think you will see from this talented young dancer anyway. Okay, over to the dancer. Yeah? Hello?
So, what is your question? I just did not understand.
I can't understand you. I said, over to you. I have spoken, and now what is next? That is over to you. That's all I said.
Ma'am, can I ask you something?
Sure.
Okay. How did you pursue both the dance forms simultaneously? Bharatnatyam and Odissi.
Yeah. I learned Bharatanatyam first from the age of 7. My Arangetram was in Bangalore in 1961 when I was 17 years old. And then in 1965, when I was about to become a Bahu of the Mansingh family, Bappa, Dr. Mayadhar Mansingh, my father-in-law, he insisted that I should now learn Odissi as well. At that time, you can imagine the Oriya Society, but because I was already an established name in Bharatanatyam, I had very big name already then. I was dancing for international film festivals at Rashtrapati Bhavan, for Rotary and Lion fundraising and all that. So I was very happy. And in 1965, he took me to, when I went there for engagement, to Cuttack. My fiancé was in Geneva. So my engagement was with a sword, talwar, khanda. And that evening he took me to Kala Vikash Kendra. You must have heard about that in Cuttack. And he just told Kelu sir, that this is my Bahu and you will teach her Odissi. So that's how Odissi started. And for many years, I've danced both styles in one program. Eight musicians used to accompany me. I teach both styles in my institute as well, even today. Okay?
So thank you so much, ma'am. How can we make our daily practice, our dance routine, our riyaj more interesting? I just want your suggestion, your valuable suggestion.
More interesting is up to you. The one aspect is sadhana. You must have heard that word,
Surely.
sadhana. Now, that has to happen relentlessly, day after day, right from the exercises to the adavus and to the alaripus, jatiswaram, everything that makes you strong, makes you supple. It has to happen every day, whether you do the entire repertory or 2 items or 3 items, that's up to you. The second point, how to make it interesting, is to give, I would say, free hand to your creative imagination. I gave you one example just now, how you can turn things to advantage of society, of the audience. How can you present the same old things in a new light? What do you understand when you dance a particular padam, a kirtanam, or even I say natanam arinar, which is evergreen? I don't know what your repertory is. Even alaripu, simple alaripu, 2.5 minutes alaripu. No need to do anything extra. But my guru always said that alaripu should be like a red chili. It immediately gives you it's like an examination. It gives you the idea of where the dancer is. Alaripu can be so demanding, so beautiful, so interesting. So, like that, I say that the same old things can be made to look new according to your creative imagination. Another thing I said is daily practice, daily rehearsal, daily sadhana gives you ideas how you can make the same adavu interesting, the same dance interesting. Nobody can teach you that more than what I have said just now.
Thank you so much for your beautiful explanation and my pranam and regards to you.
Okay. Am I going to see you dance now?
Yes, ma'am.
Before I begin, I would like to share the basics of Bharatnatyam with our audience. Our respected ma'am Sonal Mansingh ji already mentioned a lot of things. She shared about Bharatnatyam, a lot of things. So here I demonstrate the basics of Bharatnatyam. We have 3 basic positions in Bharatnatyam. A standing position, we call it Samapara. Half sitting position, Aribanti. Full sitting position, that we call Murabanti. So Samapada, Arabanti, Murabanti. Bharatnatyam follows Abhinadharma. To enact a piece or a sequence, we use Drishti Veda, eye movements, head movements, Shir Veda, neck movements, Griva Veda, and hand gestures. We have double hand gestures and single hand gestures. Here I present few hand gestures and a little bit application of it. This hand gesture is single hand gesture. we call it Pataka Hasta. Using this gesture, we can say I. To address some respected one or you, we can use this gesture no. Come here. Moving to the next, Suchi Hasta. We can use it 1. Hundred. Thinking something. I am wonder. Long back. Tripataka Hasta. We can use this gesture to apply makeup. We can use this gesture throwing an arrow. So in different sequence, we can use the same gesture in different manner. Head movement. If I feel ashamed, I can use this head movement like that way. This head movement, we call it Adhamukha. Something is above me, so looking to above me, so I can use Udbahita. Looking at the side, we can use Drishti Veda. If someone is watching me, we can use this. Now I will show you few adhaus of Bharatnatyam. Before I begin the adhau, I would like to share our Bhumi Pranam with our audience. Here we convey our salutation to the Mother Earth or to the Bhumi. So, here I go. That's our number 8 Natya adhaus. Here I am exploring three positions of Bharatnatyam: standing position, half sitting position, and full sitting position. I am extending my arms to utilize the space. Sometimes we use few adhaus to utilize the entire space, like pakadhaus. Take and take te, ta, te, ta, and te, ta. We have Brahmaris in Bharatnatyam. I am giving an example. To portray the character of the eagle, we use this Brahmari, Garuda Brahmari.
Very good.
Ma'am, can I just interrupt once? It was such a beautiful interaction with Bharatnatyam, and we also have seen the nuances like Alaripu and all the dance movements, a bit of it, and also you have listened to your thoughts about the form. So, can we now shift to Odissi and also gain your insight on that?
Sure. Odissi, the name comes from Odra Desha. Orissa is today called Odisha, but it was Kalinga in the times of Emperor Ashoka. It was also Utkala and Anga Banga Kalinga, that was famous. That is parts of Bihar, today's Bihar, parts of Bengal, Anga Banga Kalinga, the main part of Orissa. The tradition, of course, is very old. Like the real tradition of Bharatanatyam, as we call, is very old. Now, when we say very old, people find it, oh, okay, 200, 300, 500 years. When you say 2000 and more, they say, oh my God, how is it? So there are references to dance in Ramayana, in Mahabharata, in Veda also, Rig Veda, Sama Veda, everywhere. Odisha, I would recommend that I wish the two dancers could be together, so then you could see the difference in the, what shall I say, the technique. So the Aramandi, the half-seated posture, Ardha Mandali, in Bharatanatyam, the knees out posture, becomes broader and becomes chauka in Odissi. That is the square posture. So the arms are held, oops, you can't see, I don't know. The arms are held up and the feet are knee out. And so you will see with this Odissi dancer. And the main thing about Odissi is the independent movement of the torso, the upper body, which gives it a wave-like lavanya, grace. Tribhanga is another very, very distinct feature, the three-bend posture of the body, which I think Odissi plays with Tribhanga, both in abstract nritya and also in expressional dance nritya or abhinaya. Odissi also has some independent different mudras, which are not in Bharatanatyam. Like Kathakali has its own mudras, so many more mudras. Ayo, what am I doing? I don't know. Yeah, okay. And Odissi dance uses mainly Oriya, Sanskrit, nowadays, of course, Hindi, and many other languages, Bengali, Assamese. It is the costume, like Bharatanatyam has all the Kanjivaram, heavy sari, zari, golden zari, and ruby, gold ornaments, and Uddayanam at the waist. Odissi has Bengo Patiya. Bengo is frog. The frog-faced Patiya is, of course, the belt. The frog face pendants are there. It's a very beautiful thing. And silver ornaments. Now, people always ask, why silver ornaments? It's very curious. Some explanation offered by scholars, not mine, that Orissa was never a show-off place. And people were and still are very simple, basically. They are rich in literature, they are rich in music, they are rich in literary traditions and dance, of course, like every other, like Tamil Nadu and everywhere. But Odissi has its own flavor, and although today, from 10th century, AD, Jagannath Ratha Yatra has begun. The Ratha Yatra and Sri Jagannath Puri, Sri Jagannath Swami, with Subhadra, sister, and Balabhadra, the brother, and Sudarshana Chakra, Chaturdha Murti. They are the presiding deities of Odisha. But Odisha always had Shaivite, Jain, Buddhist, and Shakta traditions. It also has the famous Sun Temple at Konark. And the worship of sun comes down to us right from Persia and beyond, even in Baku and all, in Azerbaijan. And it comes down through Multan and through Khajuraho, all that, all the way to Orissa. Gujarat also has Modhera Sun Temple. So Orissa has been a very, very rich amalgam of socio-cultural traditions, of faiths, different faiths which live together and which have given so much depth and richness to Odissi. Now, Oriya literature is also something that I don't think has yet been explored as it should be. The Chanda tradition, the very special Tala Pramanas, rhythmic cycles, are very special to Odissi. The second part, the second aspect of Odissi is also the Mayurbhanj Chau, which I learned in 1973, the first woman to learn it. It's a combination of tribal martial arts, and today, of course, it's gone worldwide. The third very curious thing is about the Gotipur. The Gotipur dancers, Gotipur, one boy. The young boy dancers, before they grow moustache and break their voice, they became dancers, Akhada Pila, as they were called. My Guru Kelucharanji was also Akhada Pila. Because in bad times of Akrantas, of attacks on Orissa, the Devadasis and Gurus went underground. And that's when the young boys were dressed as girls. And today, of course, they do all the bandhas, all the acrobatic postures also given in Natya Shastra. So anyway, I would like to, like the Odissi dancer, to please come.
Namaste, ma'am.
Namaskar.
कैसे हैं मैम?
Speak. कहो.
आप कैसे हैं?
हाँ ठीक हूँ, थैंक यू.
सर बहुत खुशी लग रही है आपके साथ बात करके, पर मुझे विश्वास नहीं हो रहा है आपके सामने बैठा हूँ.
थैंक यू सौरव. तो क्या आप क्या दिखाएंगे, कुछ बोलेंगे आप पहले?
जी मैम, मेरा जो परफॉर्मेंस है गुरु पूर्णिमा के लिए, मेरा है अष्टशंभु है परफॉर्मेंस, जो देवदेव महादेव के ऊपर है, आधारित है. वो वेंकटेश्वर कवि वेंकटेश्वर दीक्षितार के द्वारा विरचित अष्टशंभु है, जिसमें शिव के 8 रूप के वर्णन किए गए, जैसे कि है तापस वेश, वीर विनोद, गरुड़कंटक, चंद्रशेखर, हरीश्वर, and
Saurav.
राज.
Saurav. हेलो सौरभ.
जी
आप पहले कुछ त्रिभंग,
जी मैम,
चौक का स्टेपिंग बता दो, 2-3 2-2-2-2. सो मैंने जो कहा, ओडिसी का टेक्निक बहुत अलग है भरतनाट्यम से, ऐसे थोड़ा बता दो ना. उसके बाद अष्टशंभु बहुत लंबा है. कोई आपके पास मंगलाचरण है या ऐसा कुछ है स्थाई, तो वो बता दीजिए ना, क्योंकि समय बहुत ज्यादा नहीं है अपने पास. हाँ
जी.
तो पहले थोड़ा ओडिसी को बताओ ना. आपका चौक बताइए, चौक का एक स्टेपिंग बताइए, त्रिभंग का एक बताइए. हाँ
जी.
अच्छा, ओके, चलो.
जी मैम, करके बताऊं? अभी करके बताऊं?
हाँ, करके बताओ.
जी जी मैम, ये है ओडिसी का चौक। इस ये है और इसमें इसको और उड़ीसी डांस का प्रमुख दो भंगी है, चौक और त्रिभंगी, जिसको देवदत्त भंगी बोलते हैं। देवदत्त का मीन्स होता है देवों के द्वारा प्रदान किए हैं। जैसे कि चौक हमारा श्री जगन्नाथ जी के बैठने की तरह से आए हैं, और त्रिभंगी ये है। ये त्रिभंगी कृष्ण जी के बैठने की शैली से आया है। इस दोनों को, इस त्रिभंगी और चौक को प्रमुख माना जाता है ओडिसी डांस में।
आगे आगे कुछ बताइए, स्टेपिंग एक दो बताइए।
जी ये होता है बंधनी पाद होता है। ओडिसी में प्रमुख पादभेद यूज करते हैं, जिसमें ओडिसी का एक स्पेशलिटी है जो कि अन्य क्लासिकल डांस फॉर्म से थोड़ा अलग है। जैसे कि वहाँ पर ओडिसी डांस में पारंपरिक हस्त मुद्रा का ज्यादातर व्यवहार बहुत करे जाते हैं। जैसे कि ये होते हैं व्याघ्र हस्त होते हैं, ये जैसे होते हैं पुष्प होते हैं, ये अर्धसूची होता है, ऐसा। मैम मैं कोई एक डांस का पीस करके देखा ओडिसी का।
हाँ जी
जी जी मैम। मैम ये ओडिसी डांस का ज्यादातर गुरु देव प्रसाद दास का शैली से मैं रिप्रेजेंट कर रहा हूँ। उसमें शब्द स्वर पाठ शब्द का ज्यादातर यूजेस
पता
होता
है।
है। जो हाँ जी जो स्थायी नृत्य में है
जय
वो
दुर्गा,
शब्द जो
काली कराली,
शिल्प।
काली का है,
जी जी
शिव का है, जो भी
जी
शब्द
जी
स्वर पाठ करो
जी
करो
शिव का
करो।
है। जी जी हाँ जी। मैम ये शब्द सुर पाठक है।
हाँ, बहुत अच्छा, फुल ऑफ एनर्जी, वेरी गुड।
गुरुजी ने, गुरुदेव प्रसाद दास जी ने एक संबलपुर एक विलेज है, वहाँ पर जाकर 1-2 महीना रहकर वहाँ पर जैसे सब विलेजर्स के साथ वहाँ पर जो कल्चर होता है, जो शब्द स्वर पाठ का जो यूजेस होता है, वहाँ पर वो देखे, उसको कलेक्शन करके लेके आए और उसको डांस में यूज करें, जिसपे स्थाई का है एक शब्द का, स्थाई हमारा एक प्योर डांस फॉर्म है, जिसमें ओडिसी नृत्य का जैसे मंदिर का सब भंगी होता है, जो नृत्य शिल्पी का जो भंगी होता है, उस भंगी को लेके स्थाई में यूज करते हैं। तो उसमें एक पाठ है, एक पाठ है, उसको बोलते हैं शब्द पाठ, जो है एक चरण पताक सोची, वाम हस्त कर जरोची, दृष्टि अर्ध निमिलित भाव मूर्छना मूर्छना, अधर वक्र वल्लभ परितोष चक्षु, मुद्बाहित कटिडम्बरु, अभिमाना अभिमाना अभिमाना, जो अभी मैं आपको करके दिखाऊंगा। एक विशेषत्व है, वहां पर एक पारंपरिक हस्त मुद्रा का व्यवहार करते हैं। इसके ये है व्याघ्र हस्त, टाइगर हैंड्स, व्याघ्र हस्त, और ये है पुष्प, फ्लावर्स, पुष्प, और ये है अर्धसूची। किसी चीज को थोड़ा सा दिखाने के लिए ये यूज होता है, थोड़ा सा, ठीक है। और हमारे डांस फॉर्म में है एनिमल्स का गतिभेद है, ये होता है धिन तिनक थिन ता, तिनक धिन धिन तिनक धिन ता, धिन तिनक धिन ता, तिनक धिन धिन तिनक धिन ता, धिन तिनक धिन ता, धिन 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 तिनक धिन, दिनक दिन धर, दिनक दिन, दिनक दिन धात्र तात 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 धात्र ता, धात्र ता, धान धान धा धात्र गदिगन धा। ये था स्वान का गतिभेद था, स्वान कैसा चलता है। मैम ये शब्द सुर पाठक है।
हाँ, बहुत अच्छा, फुल ऑफ एनर्जी, वेरी गुड।
Yes,
मैम और स्थाई में एक
can I interrupt once? It was really like when I was looking at this, it was the people like us who are very layman in this particular spectrum of dance. We are absolutely enthralled to see, like we are seeing the Bharatnatyam and also we are seeing the Odissi side by side. So you are getting an idea about two very vibrant forms. There are the similarities and differences between them, but we are the time that we have is too less. You know, these discussions, it appears as if we go on ages and ages and talking about this and seeing it. Nothing is absolute, but alas, time is so less. So I would I'm really I knew so much, and Ma'am Sonal Mansingh is one of the luminaries in this field. So I would like to call in Mr. Ajayveer Chapotkar from Arts from India to give the thanks, and he has some reactions to share.
Wow, what an informative and
Yeah.
interactive session with Dr. Sonal Mansingh, Supratim Talukdar and Saurav Mohanty. Dr. Mansingh spoke brilliantly on Bharatnatyam and Odissi dance and made this session a great resource for dancers and the audience. Our audience will learn and gain a lot from this session. I got to learn so many new things today about Indian dance forms. Thank you, Dr. Mansingh, for allowing our young dancers, Supratim and Saurav, to interact with you today. I am sure that this conversation will inspire them for life-changing for our young and talented artists. On behalf of Arts of India, I would like to thank you, Dr. Mansingh, along with Supratim Talukdar and Saurav Mohanty, for taking time out from your busy schedule and educating our viewers about Odissi and Bharatnatyam. Viewers, please do join us for our Guru Purnima show, webcast on Arts of India's Facebook page, on YouTube channel on 25th and 26th of July, and watch Supratim and Saurav perform, along with other young and talented artists who have been making many personal sacrifices to keep the rich cultural heritage alive of Indian dance. Thank you all once again from Arts of India. Namaste.
Thank you. Thank you. Namaskar.
Namaskar.
Thanks,
Thank you very much for
Hey,